Fellas, I'm going to be creating an alternate matchup for every announced fight for UFC 298. Now, I did this one for UFC 300 where I created an alternate matchup. You lot seem to like it, so I'm going to be doing this for 298, just replacing one of the fighters. So I can't just create a brand new matchup. I'm only going to be changing one of the fighters and attempting to make the fight better. Let me know if you'd replaced it with any other opponents, but we're going in there with the first fight on the main card. Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov, and I'm changing it. Sorry, Hernandez, I'm bringing in Magedov. We finally get to see a prospect versus prospect matchup. I feel like in the UFC, a lot of the time they're trying to kind of not going to save fighters. It's not boxing, but they're trying to kind of keep fighters protected. Roman Kopylov versus Magedov would be such a fun matchup. You've got a dangerous, quick striker who's great at setting up shots in Roman Kopylov, taking on one of the best kickboxers we've seen in a debut against Bruno Silva in Magedov. I think this would be great. They're both not too far from being a ranked middleweight. Obviously, there's no rankings beyond 15, but they're not too far from being a ranked middleweight, and this fight would be a banger. You've got two amazing strikers going at it. Two people, you've got Sharuputin, who's undefeated, and then you've got Roman Kopylov, who's on an absolute streak. I wouldn't mind seeing this fight. It's not too long after Sharuputin fought at UFC 294, but he's got enough time to prepare. That's only 4 pay-per-views later. I want to see this fight one day down the line because I feel like this would be a striking match. It would be a spectacle on the feet. You've got two high-level strikers going at it. So Roman Kopylov versus Magedov, I think that would be a great and an improved matchup to the card. Now, I don't hate the Hernandez fight because, again, it is kind of another prospect versus prospect because Hernandez is on a streak as well. A completely different style, though. He's more of a grappler who's improved his striking, whereas obviously Sharuputin is just all kickboxing, all guns blazing, doesn't want to grapple. And I don't think Roman Kopylov would be, attempting to offensively grapple Sharuputin anyway, so it's a winnable fight for both, and this would be a banger to open up the main card. So yeah, my first fight is Magedov versus Roman Kopylov. Next fight. Currently we have Ian Garry versus Jeff Neal, but our alternate matchup is Ian Garry versus Vicente Luque. Now, I don't think this is as dangerous as the Jeff Neal fight, so I'm not going to say this is like a massive improvement. It was scheduled for UFC 296, and obviously Ian Garry pulled out due to, I think it was like an illness or something. But I still think it's a competitive fight. I mean, you got to realise Ian Garry's coming off a win over Neil Magny. Vicente Luque is is a step up from Neil Magny, let's just put it that way. And if we ever get the Luque, the killer Luque, the one that was finishing guys like Woodley and Chiesa, and he's coming off a win over Rafael dos Anjos as well. So if we say, the silent killer of Luque, I think this could be a really competitive fight. I think stylistically it's a difficult fight for Garry because Vicente Luque is so dangerous on the feet and when it comes to grappling. I know Jeff Neal's a bigger threat on the feet, but still a tough fight for Ian Garry. Vicente Luque. We were supposed to see this fight at 296, and if I had to reschedule this one, I wouldn't mind rescheduling it for UFC 298. I don't think there's any other matchups that scream, any matchups that need to be made for Ian Garry. But I think Vicente Luque is a decent fight for Ian Garry if it's not Jeff Neal. So I would book Ian Garry versus Vicente Luque, reschedule it for this pay-per-view, and that's my alternate matchup this time around. Next fight, we've got Morab versus Henry Cejudo. My replacement fight would be Morab versus Corey Sandhagen. Now, the Cejudo fight would be a great test for Morab because he's going against a high-level grappler. But I think the Corey Sandhagen versus Morab fight is the best fight you can make in the bantamweight division if you're taking away the belt. And to be honest, I think it's one of the best fights you can make, period, in the division. You've got Morab, this high-paced, high-pressure grappler who absolutely dominated a former champ in Peter Yan, and he looked great doing it, and he looks like he could be a real problem, and he definitely has the potential to touch gold one day. But Corey Sandhagen, recently, he's had a brand new style. Before the past 2 fights against Vera and Font, we always knew him as being this really slick and dangerous striker, kind of similar to Marlon Vera. But in his last few fights, he's developed this new style, probably because he's training to fight Magedov. But he's had this new style where he's shown a lot more of his grappling. He's shown that his wrestling has improved a lot, and it's definitely worked against Marlon Vera and Font. And it would be great to put it at the test against a guy who is so good when it comes to grappling in Morab. Both of them arguably deserve a title shot. I mean, Morab's just beating a former champion Yan, and Sandhagen's on a streak, and he's literally just beat the shit out of the, well, not beat the shit, but he dominated the current title challenger in Marlon Vera. I think it's a fight that should be made one day. I think Sandhagen might be injured, which is why they've not made this fight, but if Sandhagen, you know, maybe if he's recovered from the injury, I would not mind seeing this fight. I don't know why we're feeding the Magedov well, not feeding, but giving Sandhagen the Magedov when he could get a #1 contender fight with Morab. Could cause issues to Morab. Difficult fight for both of them. Super competitive fight, and that would be one of the best fights you can make in the bantamweight division that's not involving a belt. So my alternate matchup at this time around, instead of Cejudo, let's bring in Sandhagen. Winner gets a title shot against O'Malley or Marlon Vera. Next fight. Current fight is Robert Whitaker versus Paulo Costa. My replacement fight is Robert Whitaker versus Jared Cannonier. Now, Cannonier has been on an absolute roll lately. You've got to admit, he's been on a roll. But Whitaker is coming off a loss to Dricus du Plessis, a dominant loss as well. He got finished. And he needs a fight that's not an easy fight because, listen, he's done pretty good at middleweight. He arguably beat Adesanya in the rematch. He's beaten Cannonier before. He's beaten guys like Brunson as well, Marvin Vettori. So I don't think he should be given an easy fight just because he lost once to the current champion. But I would not mind a matchup against Cannonier, a rematch, because Cannonier's on a roll. He beat Sean Strickland. It might have been quite controversial, but on paper he still beat him. And then he goes out there and beats the absolute brakes off Marvin Vettori. If Jared Cannonier can beat Robert Whitaker, a guy who's already beaten him in the past, that's a statement-making fight for him right there. That would pretty much guarantee him a title shot, because what more do you need to prove? And then obviously for Whitaker, if he can beat a guy who's looked as good recently as Jared Cannonier, it shows that Whitaker's not just done, and he's back in there again with another dominant win at middleweight against Jared Cannonier, and he's probably only going to be one fight away from a title fight. So I think that's a great matchup. I don't mind the Costa one because it's a fight that we've been kind of waiting for a while. You know, they're both around the top 5 area. I don't mind the matchup, and at least we get to see Costa finally in there. I don't want to speak too soon, but at least we get to see Costa in there. But yeah, Whitaker's beaten him before. It's a big rematch in the middleweight division, and I think now that Whitaker's been finished and Cannonier started looking great, I think we should reschedule it. So that's my replacement matchup. And then finally, the main event. Now, this one was really difficult to replace. We've currently got Volkanovski versus Toria. Now, do I think that Volkanovski versus Movsar Evloev would be bigger in any way, shape or form in terms of star power or hype? I don't, right? It just wouldn't be. Ilia Topuria is a much bigger star than Evloev. He's much more promotable. In fact, Movsar Evloev has never actually finished anyone in the UFC, and he's arguably coming off a questionable win of Arnold Allen. But it's similar to Ilia Topuria. Movsar Evloev is undefeated. He's another undefeated featherweight for Volkanovski, so you can kind of promote the fact that he's never been beaten and he's just been running through contenders like Arnold Allen. So that's something you can give Movsar Evloev. On top of that, it's kind of a new style for Volkanovski at featherweight. I feel like a lot of these fighters that Volkanovski is fighting at featherweight, they're kind of similar. You know, guys like Holloway, Rodriguez, Ilia Topuria, they're all pretty much just strikers. Korean Zombie as well. They're all strikers. I know they're different types of strikers. Some of them are more scrappers, some of them are kickboxers, but they're all strikers. They're all on the feet, and that's kind of, I'm not going to say it's easy for Volkanovski, but it's kind of he doesn't have to completely change his game plan. Now, we've seen Volkanovski against Makhachev twice. I want to see Volkanovski against a grappler in the featherweight division. And there's no better guy against undefeated Movsar Evloev, who's on a streak recently. I think this makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I would want to see Volkanovski versus Evloev. And to be honest, if Volkanovski can beat Ilia Topuria, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the fight to make in the featherweight division, because there's no one else really there for Volkanovski. I mean, he could move up to lightweight, but he's already lost to Islam Makhachev twice, and I don't know why any contenders would want to fight Volkanovski. So that's my alternate matchup. Maybe it wouldn't be as big in star power, but it's still a promotable fight. And yeah, that is me replacing one fight on every current announced main card fight at UFC 298. Let me know your thoughts on the current pay-per-view and the one that I've just kind of rescheduled about. I think some of the fights are definitely improved. Some of them maybe not so much, but they're not far off. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, and thank you for watching.